Thank you, Colleen, for that introduction. First off, I'd like to thank Esker today for allowing me to speak with you regarding excellence in order management and the benefits of automation. My game plan is outlined here to bring us through the entire process. First off, we're going to start off with a hypothesis, really to kind of frame this entire story. Then we're going to just move into the Aberdeen methodology. We're going to go into current findings from our research. Then really, what is a best-in-class company, and how do we really define that? So we'll dive deeper into that, and then we'll kind of close off with our recommendations. So really, Aberdeen, this is us in the most simplest of views. We're broad-based across all different industries and different verticals. What's really important is that we touch base with a ton of readers and decision makers, but mostly all of our research actually comes from the end user and the end user perspective. We're also a vendor agnostic agency, which makes us extremely unique for the industry. And then finally, most important, as I mentioned, is that our research is fact-based, data-driven, and from the end user perspective. So from those findings, we actually take that, we have the discussions with some of the top companies in the world. So now let's get into this hypothesis. So from the early days of trade, we would receive either goods or services. We would then verify those goods or services met our requirements. Today, it's not terribly different, except for the immense complexities that are associated with the order management process. Businesses today face global, multifaceted channels, dispute resolution. They're looking to reduce errors, gain greater visibility across their processes, allow for flexibility in their order status, and have to meet or exceed the customer's expectations and the responsibilities associated with those. So how and what do we integrate? First off, customers today expect greater collaboration. Business owners need to look at solutions that are scalable and cost efficient. And the big question for the C-level executives of what they're actually asking is visibility into their organization. The intent of this webinar is really to focus on a key segment of the entire AP/AR process and really just look at order management. So the Aberdeen methodology, well, what's really important about these next two slides is that how we really come to our findings. It's easy to say that you know what the solution is, but Aberdeen, we actually use the PACE method, which stands for, the acronym is for pressures, actions, capabilities, and enablers. And we build all of our research around this. So first off, the pressures really face the pressures that are being seen in the organization or in the market. What are they facing? What's the competition? What's the market pressures? What's that business up against right now? The next item is really actions. Simply stated is the actions are what the organization takes in regards to the pressures. Then there's the capabilities. Well, the capabilities is really when you go back to your organization, you look at it, what's your corporate vision, what's your strategy, what are some of those processes that you already have in place that you're looking at. And then that moves us to the enablers. Well, the enablers is really the technology. You look at technology solutions to maximize efficiencies and to find better gains. And that's what we basically build our premise off of. So then from there, we take our survey and our survey data and all of our research work, and then we basically take that information, we base it off of KPIs that are for the industry that we're looking at. And for this particular segment, we based our data research off of API past dues, data that were, required clearing and things of that nature. And then we take that total respondents, that complete aggregate, and we really kind of compress that into, we'll say our data sorting machine, and then we broke that out into leaders and followers. And so the leaders is really the top 30% of the 100% ratio, while the followers are the 70. Now every now and then we'll also do the average cut, which works out to be a different split. It's a 20-50-30 split where you'd have the best in class. But for this particular research, we just really wanted to keep it very clean and create two different separations between the leader and the followers. So let's get into current findings. Well, current findings today of what we're seeing for the CFOs of their main point of responsibility and control is that they're really facing liquidity management. And that's really an easier way just to say liquid assets that can be immediately performed for some type of economic gain or the buying or selling of some type of debt. And obviously that makes sense. Here today in 2014, how can they quickly liquefy some of their businesses to stay competitive to the market space? The second pressure that we see is cash flow analysis. With the leading CFOs, with the ease and the ability to move money from in and out of different business ventures and projects, this allows them a lot more flexibility within their organization. The third highest pressure we see is compliance. Well, compliance, and the measuring and risk mitigation, this has a significant 26% gap from this data. And it holds true that this pressure is going to continue to grow, and you're going to see the concentration of this increase dramatically. The fourth pressure, and the pressure that we're really going to focus on for this discussion, is really, it falls within the APAR payment management section. So this is really no longer considered a back office work, but it's also very much a key deliverable for businesses. The 15% gap between leaders and followers is still a high area of concentration for all our executives. CFOs and senior level executives can no longer be contained to one core function of the department. So you're not seeing the individual anymore just taking care of AP or AR or taking care of collections or global payment. Really what you're looking at is, leading organizations can actively scrutinize their cash flow and execute by informed business decisions based on the intelligence driven by this cash flow. And that's why now when we start looking at this, the visibility that we need to gain into this whole back-end system is so much more important. Now that we move into the ability to reduce DSOs, the top improvement objective for AR departments was really to revolve around accelerating order to management. Nearly half of all respondents listed reducing days sales outstanding, DSO, as a top objective. Even though most companies measure and report DSO at a later stage in the sales to close process, every sub-process along the journey really contributes to this metric. So for a quick example of this is if a customer places an order with a company and then calls back shortly thereafter to add an order or to remove an order, or even just to change the order around, that could actually dramatically impact that entire deliverable and that key metric, simply because depending on the type of system you have, if you have a paper-based system or if you're integrated system or maybe you're a partially integrated system, different steps along the way, you're going to lose valuable time. And that's where that DSO metric actually increases and is really seen as a leading objective for departments to start working on. So another interesting item here is when you start looking at the solutions to billing, is that really when looking at the billing and order management, the first item that best-in-class organizations look at is the ability to have linkage between their ERP systems and legacy systems. Really, what best-in-class companies want is visibility. And not just a snapshot, but really a holistic view of themselves and suppliers. So really, when you develop this holistic view, they are now able to mitigate risk. They're able to have a faster view of everything that's happening before them. Not only that, but they're also able to aid the supplier if they're inside of say they're inside of a buying crunch, or if they're trying to have product come in, or if there's quality issues. Once again, they're able to leverage these assets. So now we're just going to jump into the best in class. So this chart really showcases the meat and potatoes of order to cash. And what I like to do is really start from the bottom up on this one. So starting from the bottom, once you have standardized enterprise-wide your quotation and order management, it will also give you greater visibility into your order fulfillment process and deliveries. This really allows for greater customer service and a strong picture into the DSO. With that being said, leaders now really need to focus on automation and integration of the billing processes and allow for real-time visibility, starting from order management all the way to collections and reconciliation. This integration helps provide a holistic view to all departments to detect exceptions and to really enable timely decisions and greater financial visibility. So really to sum up this slide is that our leaders embrace a mix of key capabilities and automated processes across their entire order-to-cash cycle. Without an integrated platform, order management could require input from different resources across multiple departments, becoming very costly and time-consuming, and really ultimately creating a higher risk of failure in the overall process. So now we're going to look at some of the top actions in store here. So first off, what are the benefits of effective order management? Companies rely on an efficient supply chain and the benefits of automation to really effectively run order management. Top companies integrate and automate order processing. 82% of the best in class and 59% of all others integrate order and operating delivery flows within their supply chain. The best in class are 63% more likely than all other organizations to use automation to improve their throughput. These improvements will show significant savings in the next few slides. So there's multiple ways to be actually looking at this slide, and sometimes we could just easily drop the top and the bottom out, for example. And why do I say that? Well, simply, we live really in a time of you have to do more with less. And basically, how can we support all of these functions with less headcount? And the difficulty of managing multiple channels. This is really a business case for executives. This is where you need to become the champion of the effort, and this data from this webinar will help you through that entire process. So time is money. Executives are going to recognize that, you recognize that, but 49% of survey respondents listed reducing the DSO as a leading objective. So leading companies have adopted a set of automation, integration, and visibility capabilities to help them achieve this goal. With that, automation is the key tool for accelerating order management. Leaders are 39% more likely than followers to have automated workflows, helping them achieve their superior order processing speeds. And then also, automation eliminates the errors that stem from basically the manual order entry process and drives less costly order management. With that being said, 63% of organizations still rely on manual processes for converting quotes to orders. So there is still plenty of room for improvement in this area. Finally, standardizing. Order management and subsequent sub-processes imparts uniformity across really the enterprise in terms of account management and dispute resolution. This is particularly relevant as companies want to scale their operations without necessarily scaling the associated costs. So having standardized rules removes guesswork, and the company can grow using its existing resources. So here is your money slide for executives. If they want to become a leader in the industry, let's walk through this one very simply. The key takeaway here is that for leaders, at 11.7% of these tasks require manual intervention, but followers perform this task with greater labor involvement at 30.1%. That's an amazing 18.4% separation. Basically, leaders are highly automated while followers are not. Consequently, followers take longer to not only process invoices, but also to clear payments. The table also shows this by the number of days for payments to clear the AR ledger. Here we see that leaders can perform this task in 1.1 days, that's highlighted in the red, with the followers being able to complete the task in 6.9 days. The recurring revenue model saves the leaders 5.8 days in the process and enables them to put liquidity back into their businesses and support their customers' cash flow. If the previous slide really wasn't enough information to support a change in your order management system, this should be the frosting on the cake. This slide highlights some of the key capabilities that help leaders outperform followers. Some of the key billing capabilities in this table clearly show that leaders outperform followers across the board. First off, leaders are 89% more likely than followers. This is the 70% versus the 37% that you see, to have their billing and collections integrated with order entry and credit with no duplicate entry. Leaders are also 165% more likely than followers, this is the 82 versus 31%, to have real-time visibility into outstanding invoice volumes. The importance of this is improved efficiencies in billing and collections, with items being reconciled or dispute resolution being resolved in a timely manner, ultimately gaining happy and satisfied customers. So this is really just a kind of a quick slide on some fun facts, is that when you start looking at this, I asked the question down below, how do you want to grow your business? Well, first off, 47% organizations has recurring revenue. 16% strictly have a recurring revenue service-only arm to their business, while 81% sell a mix of recurring and one-time purchase offers. But with those offers, and then you look at the next bullet, which is really 58% of organizations have very dissatisfied or neutral customer base. So I ask you the question once again, how do you want to grow and run your business? It always comes back to meeting the customer's needs and expectations. So I'm going to briefly touch upon the rise of the cloud. There's been a lot of discussion around the cloud or on-premise solutions. First off, an organization that can provide you either is really the first best thing to look at. Now, in this area, I'm going to talk really mostly about cloud, being that most people are aware about the on-premise solution. So the three key words that I really need you to remember to walk away with is flexible, scalable, convenience. Once again, it's flexible, scalable, and convenience. Cloud automation offers the fastest deployment, fewer resource requirements, and more predictable pricing. And because of its flexibility in terms of scale and convenience, cloud solutions are particularly useful for organizations with recurring revenue models as well as those with shared service centers. In our recent Aberdeen survey of 2013 e-payables, 28% of leading companies are currently evaluating options with regards to cloud-based solutions for their business processes, and 41% currently have some or all of their applications in the cloud. So with regards to order management, 34% of the respondents are currently using a web-based order management solution, and 24% are planning to use really one in the near future, showing some incredible growth within the cloud-based solution. So this is really just another fun slide when we look at deployment rates within the financial management area. So if we look at on-premise solutions for future implementation rates in the next 12 months, we're looking at 8%. And then we jump down to the SAS, cloud, or on-demand type systems, and those are at 14%. So you're looking at, within the next 12 months, you're looking at an implementation rate of almost double than what you would normally see for an on-premise based solution in the next 12 months. This next slide shows us how best-in-class organizations integrate effectively. Data consistency is a key requirement for accurate reporting, and really establishing standardized procedures, processes, and being able to integrate different systems uniformly is the key one vision, one message type idea that we're trying to take away from this slide. Best-in-class companies are 1.9 times as likely versus laggards to combine reports from different sources and systems to one central platform. This not only imparts transparency, but also inspires compliance among stakeholders, as they all now have access to the same information. Granted, one note to this is that you would need to speak with your IT departments and being mindful of different permissions and access depending on the roles of the stakeholders. But really, ultimately, a centralized financial data pool can also expedite the process and can really have a positive impact on the time to decision making. 34% of best-in-class companies are able to seamlessly switch between multiple applications and avoid disruption in process flows, compared to the 19% of their laggard counterparts. And really, what does it really come all back to? It comes back to data integrity, greater visibility and time to decision. That's going to be a key differentiator when we're looking at really best-in-class organizations. When looking at billing order management, the first item that best-in-class organizations look at is the ability to have linkage between their ERP system and legacy systems. Really, what a best-in-class company wants to see is greater visibility, and not just a snapshot, but really a holistic view of themselves and where their suppliers are at. With this holistic view, they have the ability to integrate, navigate through their systems, reduce risk, create quicker items to decision, and really have a holistic view of not only themselves, but the entire enterprise and everything that's being supported by it. So, recommendations. So what are some of the key takeaways here? Well, first off, clearly, the ability to serve customers quickly and provide timely order confirmation provides a competitive edge in today's business environment. Automation is the key tool for accelerating order management. Leaders are 39% more likely than followers to have automated workflows, helping them achieve their superior order processing speeds. Also, automation eliminates the errors that stem from manual order entry and drives less costly order management. We also spoke about cloud-based solutions for order management, which are faster, flexible, and convenient. Once again, those three key words. Really, and the whole thing about faster, flexible, and convenient is to deploy, they're able to deploy and they require less resources than an on-premise model. Standardizing and integration of order management and its subsequent sub-processes creates uniformity across the enterprise in terms of account management and dispute resolution. This is particularly important as companies really want to scale their operations without necessarily scaling their costs. And finally, organizations need to view their processes holistically. Order management is one piece of the greater piece of pie. And when you're able to capture that greater visibility of your slice and how it relates to the whole rest of the pie, incredible savings and efficiencies can be found along the way, ultimately delivering in the greater customer satisfaction and leading to recurring revenue. And that's really ultimately the goal of this entire presentation, with excellence in order management. So with that being said, I'd like to thank you very much, and now I'm going to hand the presentation over to Steve Smith, and Steve is the Chief Operation Officer for Esker. Steve?